Ethereum spot ETF has been approved. Yes, we have Bitcoin and Ethereum spot ETF available for your investment now. It's almost surreal to think about it, but yes, it's approved. But then how come are we not rich yet? Is Ethereum still in the dip? We're going to talk all about that. Hey everyone, good morning and welcome back to Daily Crypto News. It's Friday, May 24th, and Sarah, I'm your host on Friday this week. We have a lot of news, including Ethereum ETF related news. So let's get started. Instead of just talking about, okay, Ethereum spot ETF has been approved, I kind of went through all different types of news articles around Ethereum ETF and kind of made a summary of it so that you can kind of enjoy this day of crypto celebration. Starting with actually before ETF was approved. According to CoinDesk, at around 4 p.m. EDT on May 23rd, Thursday, U.S. Security and Exchange Commission Chair Gary Gensler declined on Thursday to preview his agency's decision on Ethereum exchange-traded funds, though he advised observers to stay tuned. And he also said, quote, "We do it within the law and how the courts interpret the law, and that's what I'm deeply committed to," end quote, he said. After having noted on stage at the Investment Company Institute event in Washington that the agency has responded to the DC Circuit Court of Appeals decision rejecting the SEC's approach towards spot Bitcoin ETFs earlier this year. The SEC, after weeks of limited engagement, asked exchanges supporting spot Ether ETF applications to refile their 19B4 forms with universal language earlier this week. Based on these forms, it appeared the SEC was uncomfortable with the idea that Ether ETF issuers might stake any assets. And this is probably the point that everyone was like, are we going to actually have Ethereum ETF? And people were still speculating. And you'll see that in our weekly roundup, Matt was actually wrong about his prediction on the approval state. All right, so he actually predicted that the Ethereum spot ETF, unlike Bitcoin spot ETF, will be approved. We didn't have any bet, but yeah, he was wrong. I was kind of 50-50. All right. You'll see all about it in our this week's roundup. We had a great discussion and had fun, so I hope you'll join us. Later on the same day, around 5:30 p.m. EDT, news media started to publish the approval-related news. I guess you guys have seen it. That was nighttime for me, so I didn't get to actually celebrate in real time. According to CNBC, the SEC has approved a rule change Thursday, and they said it would pave the way for ETFs that buy and hold Ether, one of the world's largest cryptocurrencies. The decision comes less than 6 months after the Securities and Exchange Commission approved Bitcoin ETFs. Specifically, the SEC's order approves applications from various exchanges to list 8 different Ether funds. The order technically does not approve the funds themselves or set a date for the ETFs to begin trading. So that's where I was kind of disappointed. I mean, we knew it, but all the headlines of the approval was kind of sad. We couldn't really be 100% happy about it because it's not technically the ETF that was approved. It's the rule change was approved. Obviously, as a traditional media, the CNBC, this article deals with a lot of basic information like other cryptocurrencies issued on Ethereum are not approved as a similar product, or what is even Ethereum staking. If you are a fan of CNBC, I think it would be a good read anyways because it was quite basic about how it all happened and everything. And moving on to Decrypt. According to Decrypt, there was an article about some degens on Polymarket wagered over $13 million on Thursday's SEC approval. But then this article was not really about Ethereum ETF approval, but it's rather about how people debated whether it actually happened. What do you mean? You might ask. But this was actually a funny article as well. Since there was no specific rules about that, what approval means in that betting, and this approval this time was that the SEC had approved the rule changes allowing major investment firms to proceed with submitted and amended plans to offer spot Ethereum ETFs, but those specific funds have not yet been approved. Anyways, the outcome of that betting proposed to be yes, and even with dispute, the final outcome remained to be yes. Of course, we have to talk about prediction market at this point, right? Anyways, moving on to another crypto media, DL News. This media talks about the actual meaning of the approval, thank God. So 9 different ETFs issued by BlackRock, Fidelity Investments, Grayscale Investments, VanEck, Invesco, and Galaxy Digital, ARK Invest, and 21 Shares, Hashtags, Franklin Templeton, and Bitwise will likely launch. These are almost the same firms that launched spot Bitcoin ETFs back in January, with only Valkyrie missing. Then what now? What happens now? 2 essential forms need to be finalized for ETFs to be approved by SEC: 19B4 filings and S1 filings. On Thursday, the SEC approved 19B4 filings, but it likely still needs a few weeks or even months to review S1 filing. Now, we still have the FIT 21 Act decision is left, and then we don't know how the temperature is in Washington's going to be. And of course, if you want to know and if you want to hear more about that part, because we are very interested in the regulations in DCN and how the overall landscape of crypto is going to be, don't forget to watch our this week's roundup with me and Matt. All right, that was the wrap up of our Ethereum spot ETF news. I hope you liked it. And let's go and see what else has happened in the crypto world. On the second day of Tigran Gambaryan's money laundering trial in Nigeria, Gambaryan was called into the holding cell. He immediately fainted and was helped to a chair by his lawyers, where he was able to recover a little bit. Gambaryan's lead attorney, Mark Morty, assumed that Gambaryan's collapsed due to deteriorating health as he entered his 8th week of incarceration. Morty provided the court with a doctor's note, but did not disclose further details about Gambaryan's actual condition. Morty asked the court for an adjournment to allow his client to receive medical treatment, and Justice Emeka and White agreed. So he set June 20th and 21st as the resumption dates for the trial. Even with the happy news with Ethereum ETF, the trial with Binance in Nigeria goes on. And it's getting even worse because earlier in May, Binance CEO Tang threw a statement that Nigerian officers has demanded as much as $150 million in crypto from Binance as bribes to settle a dispute with the country. I'm worried about how this trial will end, and now how this whole dispute between Binance and Nigeria will end. Honestly, I don't know how it's going to be. We'll keep you all updated through our daily crypto news for sure. A formal professional poker player for 15 years, Roy Bashin, known as Zeneca in crypto, saw his NFT portfolio skyrocketed to 8 figures at one point, but then plunged back to earth. He then transformed himself into an NFT creator in November 2021 with the launch of Zen Academy and the 333 Club. You guys all have heard about Zeneca and Zen Academy and the 333 club. He's kind of an influencer in crypto, especially in the NFT space. And Cointelegraph wrote a feature piece on his life in crypto, and I wanted to share some quotes with you. Obviously, he talks a lot about his poker player life and crypto life and Zen Academy, etc. But there are 3 different stuff that he said that I couldn't agree more. I think if you have been around in crypto, I think you will also share the same sentiment. Number 1, he said, I think I just try not to take anything too seriously and have fun in this space. I have infinite belief in crypto and blockchain technology long term. I also know that 99% of the space is a gambling Ponzi casino. I mostly have fun and try to make some money while we're in this place and time. I couldn't agree more on this comment. I don't know if it's 99% of the space is casino, but I could kind of agree that maybe even 80-70% has scams. Let's just put it that way. But I could feel that a lot of people that I meet, a lot of people working in crypto has definitely infinite belief in crypto and the blockchain technology itself. And most importantly, we're trying to have some fun. And that is a very important element of the space. Number 2, he said, we tried a lot of things over the couple of years, and basically the realization I had in late 2023 was I didn't want to run a company. I wanted to run a community. It's almost as if every decision is going to be at the expense of one or the other. If you're trying to do something for profits, the community is generally not going to be that thrilled. If you are trying to make the community happy, generally it's going to cost money. Probably this is something that all crypto project owner or once a crypto project owner might feel. I definitely feel this way. A lot of crypto community, especially NFT community where Zeneca is from, is made of community. So it can't be really only about profit like any other company. On the other hand, you also have to have a company, a team, the workers who are ready to build and make sure that the project takes off, where there is the dilemma of, is it a community that we have to focus on? Is it a profit that we have to focus on? And it seems to be that it has to come at the expense of one or the other. And I guess he came into conclusion that, okay, he wanted to run a community, and I respect that. And last but not least, the journalist at the end of the interview, he asked, are Ethereum NFTs coming back? And the Zeneca's answer was yes and no. 99.9% are not coming back, but there is a small fraction that are going to blow everybody's mind. And he named Pudgy Penguin. I guess they're doing okay in terms of constantly innovating and trying to make things work as a NFT collectible, but also as something that you can use in Web2 world. But anyhow, his take was that Ethereum NFTs, the boom in 2022 that we saw in the beginning of NFT summer, I dare say, is not going to happen again. And in a way, it makes sense because at that time, I remember when NFT, the non-fungible token, the concept of it came out, it was revolutionary. Everybody was thrilled. Everybody was making PFP. I even made one. I still have it in my Twitter profile. It was fun to do NFT, work on NFT, make NFTs, trade NFTs. But now it's not just because of the bear market, but that hype and that drive, that refreshing feeling of NFT is kind of gone. So if NFT is going to come back, then it has to be something else than just NFT or the PFP or that community feeling of NFT, I would say. So that was it. It was a very insightful piece and also fun to read as well. It's very easy to read, so I recommend to read it as well. And share your thoughts at sarah@dailycryptonews.net. In today's Asia focus, we first go to Hong Kong. Hong Kong Security and Futures Commission (SFC) is considering including an Ether staking option for the spot Ethereum ETF issuers, according to a report published in Bloomberg. The financial regulator is currently only discussing the matter, and there is no fixed timeline for implementation. This is rather opposite regulatory stance compared to the US, right? The US SEC deems staking service as a security, forcing the likes of Kraken to shut its staking services in the United States. Coinbase, on the other hand, is fighting the SEC's security stance on staking, and on March 20th, even published a petition for rulemaking, explaining that core staking is not a security because it does not involve an investment of money, and the opportunity cost of staking is not an investment. I cannot really comment on that. I think it can be a security, but anyhow, without all that discussion, there is something else going on in Hong Kong. I'm not sure if it's like a competitive response towards US crypto scene, or it's just a natural development in Hong Kong crypto scene, but let's see how it goes. It will be cool to have staking function in the Ethereum ETF. Remember kimchi premium? In the beginning of this bull market, we could see this premium in Korea by sometimes 10%, but that seems to be going away. At present, data from various crypto market price aggregation sites show the weighted global average for Bitcoin is 69,963 per coin. Meanwhile, on Upbit, BTC trades for 70,555 per coin, reflecting a 0.84% premium. Ethereum is kind of the same. While 3.35% of BTC trades were settled in mid-March, this figure has now decreased to 1.92%. Despite the reduction, the South Korean currency, of course, won, remains the fifth most traded asset with BTC. MetaPlanet, a firm in Japan known as Japan's MicroStrategy on crypto Twitter, has seen its shares surge 158% over the last week. The reason why they're called Japan's MicroStrategy is because they have shifted their corporate goal to accumulating more Bitcoin over time. The strategy, previously employed several times by MicroStrategy, enables the company to generate funds through new share sales. The capital raised will be used to purchase additional Bitcoin, effectively transforming MetaPlanet into a de facto Bitcoin ETF for Japanese investors, but without any associated fees. This is an interesting move because the company attributed its Bitcoin investment strategy to share concerns about Japan's escalating debt burden and the rapid depreciation of the yen. You guys have been kind of keeping up on yen price. It has been going pretty crazy, and a lot of people go to Japan for that because, you know, it's good time to spend. We all know that Japanese yen has been going down quite a bit. So MetaPlanet added that Japan's debt to GDP ratio of 261% is the highest among developed nations. It's not just Japan. In his famous essay, BitMEX co-founder Arthur Hayes said the US government is poised to print dollars to prop up the yen. I know I'm getting into the conclusion, but it was very important piece of article, also connected to the previous news that I shared. Arthur Hayes also added that crypto booms as more dollar liquidity floats within the system, and in that case, Bitcoin is the best performing asset in the face of global fiat depreciation, right? Furthermore, Hayes also predicted that China will also respond with devaluing Chinese yuan if this trend of yen continues. Then the US might participate to help Japanese yen, whereby the Fed might swap dollars to yen in a certain price to plowing dollars into the world economy. Of course, the same old money printing, inflation inducing plan. But the important point here is that if this actually happens, the crypto will benefit eventually, and people will come and buy more US listed Bitcoin ETF. Wow. I have always enjoyed reading his article because it gives more insight about the connection between crypto and traditional assets and world economy, if you will. What do you think? This trend in Japanese yen and followed by devaluing Chinese yuan, and the US responds to that as well. And eventually it will benefit crypto. What do you see? If you are interested in kind of macroeconomic trend, I would love to hear your thoughts and predictions. Email me at sarah@dailycryptonews.net. That's all for today. Now let's see how the markets are doing.
Here comes the money. Here we go. Money talk.
In the fear and greed index, we are 74 greed. And the market is doing okay, I would say. And if we go to CoinMarketCap cryptocurrency chart by price, we have number one, Bitcoin, $67,069.01, which is 3.62% down since yesterday. Number two, Ethereum, $3,669.9, 3.45% down since yesterday. Number three, Maker, $2,750.53, $6.1% down since yesterday. Number four, BNB, $592.82, 3.28% down since yesterday. Number five, Bitcoin Cash, $486.44 and 4.03% down since yesterday. Number six, BitTensor, $436.64 and 9.16% down since yesterday. Number seven, Gnosis, $355.32, 1% up since yesterday. Number eight, Solana, $164.96, 6.96% down since yesterday. Number nine, Monero, $142.15, 2% up since yesterday. Number 10, Aave, $96.49 and 1.16% up since yesterday. That's all for today and this week. Thank you for tuning in today as well. Hope you learned something with me at Daily Crypto News, and make sure to come and say hello at our Substack or Twitter, and always email us. We love to have your email, sarah@dailycryptonews.net anytime. Until next week, happy hodling everyone.